Hi guys, welcome back to another Yoga Fit session. So this time I wanted to bring you a little floor-based workout. So it's going to be all little exercises for different areas of your body, targeting kind of a whole body approach that can all be done on the ground. So maybe grab a yoga mat or a fitness mat and let's get started. Okay, so before you get started, most important thing is make sure you're warm. So you could do this little routine after you've taken the dogs for a stroll, maybe you've done a little run, or just even done a little bit of marching on the spot, some little star jumps, something to kind of raise the heart rate a little bit and start to get the body pumping and warm a little bit so that you're ready to take on these. Even though they're quite sedentary and slow postures, they are definitely not easy, and it's really making sure that the tissues through your body are warm. So make sure you do that first. Maybe pause here and warm up firstly, and then let's get ready with a little bit of stretching to begin with. So as I said, the sequence is going to be all on the ground. So to begin with, we're going to start with a little bit of breathing. So I just want you to take a few breaths and really make sure that you're breathing into your belly, especially if you've just done a little bit of cardio to kind of get the heart rate going. Let's just focus on a little bit of breath work. So breathing in, expanding the belly, breathing out, contracting the belly. Now, if this sounds really odd to you, make sure you go and check out my mini series video on breathing. So just breathing straight into the belly, breathing out, that belly draws in. And then from here, we're going to come onto the hands and the knees. Continue with that breathing. And we're just going to stretch out through the body. So firstly, stretching out the right leg behind, and you're just going to rock back and forwards, just stretching out through the back of the leg. One more little pulse, and then bring that knee back in, send the left leg out, and again, nice little rocks, forwards and back. All the time when you're in this kind of position, make sure you're drawing the belly in, really, really important. And then one more, rocking that knee back in. From here, we're going to just work on a little bit through the arms. So I want you to reach the right arm up, place it onto the small of the back, the palm onto the small of the back. Then you're going to rotate to that side and then release. Rotate and release. You're going to repeat that 3 more times. One more. And release that hand all the way down. Take some little circles just at the hips and over the wrists. 3 one way and then 3 the other. And then we're going to come back to that on the other side. So placing the left palm onto the small of the back, rotating, releasing, rotating, and release. You've got 3 more. One more to go. And then releasing the hand all the way down to the ground. From here, you're going to drop the weight back onto your hips, onto your heels, sorry. Take a breath in, reach forwards, pull through, look forwards. Breathe out, round up through the back, drop back onto the heels. You're going to keep this nice little flowing movement going, following your breath. One more. And then just pausing here on the knees, taking a few nice big breaths. And then we're going to start going. So our first movement that we're going to come into is lifting our legs behind us. So with this one, you want to make sure that you're really nice and active through the whole of the leg into the foot, and also squeezing the glutes, so the bottom muscles. Fingers are going to be nice and wide on the ground so that you've got stability. And then from here, you're going to start to stretch out the right leg behind you. You can just come up onto the toes for a moment, just as we were in those little rocking movements. And then from here, you're going to reach that leg up and really stretch out. Now, some people like to point the toes, some people like somewhere between a point and a flex, and some people like to flex. Now, each of those will change how this feels as you pause and hold it. Lower that foot down and then take the knee in. From there, we're going to swap over onto the left side. Lift that leg up. Pause and hold. Draw the belly in. Make sure you're not sinking into the back here, pressing the ground away with the palms. And not lifting and opening that leg up so that the hips are moving. You're keeping the hips square and releasing that leg. From here, we're going to send the legs out behind, come into a plank pose. You're going to pause and hold this. So you don't want the hips really high and you don't want them really, really low. So it's finding that middle point and really pushing the ground away with the hands and the feet. Pausing here and breathing. And then releasing onto the knees. Walk the knees forwards. And then from here, we're going to start to send the feet out to the side, come over onto our seat bones. And we're going to take a little bit of boat. So start off with the hands behind, sit up nice and tall through the torso. And you're going to begin by just lifting each foot up off the ground and tapping it down. Draw the belly in. One more to each side. And then we're going to lift both legs up, pause and hold. Keep breathing. And then release the feet down. From here, extend the legs out. We're going to come into a side plank. We're going to come over onto the right hand and just shift our weight over to the right side. So start off by just coming onto the right side here. Now with side plank, you can have the feet separated and that helps with stability, or you can stack them one on top of the other. Maybe start with them separated, come up into it, and then you can adjust the feet. So you want to have your hand in roughly the middle of the mat, so that you're kind of stacking everything in a straight line, thereabouts. And then from here, you're going to press up off the ground, lifting the hips, pressing the ground away with that lower arm. And then you can reach that arm up. Like I said, you can have the feet separated, or you can stack them. Stacking them tends to add a bit more difficulty because there's a bit more balance. One more breath here. And then you're going to twist around, lower the left hand down and come into your plank. Lower onto the knees, sit yourself down for a moment and just take a few breaths. Nice big breaths to reset and just bring a bit more energy into your body. So it doesn't look really tricky, but they are pauses and holds, and you're really using lots of different muscles in these positions. So from here, we're going to walk the hands out and we're going to come back into a plank. So step the feet behind. And then from here, we're just going to pause and hold for a moment. And then lower down onto the knees. So we're going to go into those little leg lifts behind. So when you're going to these little leg lifts, I'm going to recommend toes tucked under. It just gives a bit more of a degree of stability. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to a leg lift behind like we were doing earlier. But also we're going to incorporate an arm lift. So it's going to be opposite sides. And we're going to pause and hold it. So let's go right leg, left hand. So start with extending that leg out behind. Start to reach the fingertips forwards, and then you're going to lift up through both. So again, really pressing through the ground, drawing the belly in and reaching out through the toes and the fingers, and just pausing and breathing here. Then releasing Good stuff. Just pause there, take a nice big breath in and back out. And we're going to swap onto that other side. So left leg comes out, right fingertips creep forwards, and then you're going to start to reach up, reach away from the body, pressing through the ground, drawing the belly in. Good stuff. Nearly there. Lower that down. Amazing. Open the knees up, touch the big toes together, untuck the toes, and just sit back into the hips and extend the arms forwards. Just take a few breaths here. You can even rest the forehead down onto the ground. From here, you're going to start to come back up onto the hands and the knees. Walk the knees in, and we're going to come into our plank pose. So extend the legs behind, come into your plank. And now this time we're going to add a bit of a degree of difference here. So press the ground away, so you're almost doming the shoulders. Make sure your hips aren't too high or low. And then we're going to start to lift up the legs behind and then lower them down. Swapping over and lowering them down. One more to each side. And then come down onto the knees. Walk the knees in to behind the hands and just sit down onto your heels. Take a few nice big breaths. From here, you're going to take the feet out to the side. Come down onto the seat bones and walk the knees out in front of you, because we're going to come back to that boat. So this time, instead of having the hands behind you, we're actually going to have the arms lifted or on the backs of the thighs. So options there. Obviously lifted is going to make the pose more challenging, but it's really, really important that you're feeling this movement, this exercise in the belly and not into the hip flexors in the legs or into the back. So top tips are going to be sit really nice and tall through the torso and keep that length through the torso as you carry out this posture. From here, maybe let's start with the hands behind the thighs, and then you can choose whether you're ready for that arm release or not. And it doesn't matter, it's more important to carry out the pose safely and get the right benefits from it. So from here, start to inch back with the torso and then lift the legs one by one up to knee level. From here, you're going to either hold or you can tap alternate feet or toes down to the ground, keeping the torso nice and straight. And then pausing and holding if you are moving. You're either staying here or you're releasing the arms, reaching out to the sides. But really, really important, you're keeping the torso nice and straight, nice and tall. And then release, come all the way down. Send the legs out. You're going to shift onto your left hip now. Extend the left palm just in front of you on the mat here. Pause, take a couple of breaths first, because you know what's going to happen. We're going to come back into the side plank. So again, options are to have the feet separated. I'd recommend starting like this, and then you can shift the feet to stacked. So from here, set up the feet so that they're separated, nice and long. Hand is facing away, or fingers are facing away from the body. And then from here, you're going to press through that hand, press through the ground, reach that top arm up. And then feel free to shuffle the feet and stack them if you like. Or you're going to keep them separated. You're really reaching up, pressing the ground away from you. And then you're going to bring the right palm down, twist the torso, come into a normal plank, lower onto the knees. Sit back onto the hips, untuck the toes, and just pause and take a couple of breaths here. come forwards, back up onto the hands and the knees. Take the right leg behind and just come back to those little pulses. So coming backwards and forwards. One more. Left leg comes out, back to those little pulses. Keeping the belly drawn in. One more. Coming onto the hands and the knees, untucking the toes. You're going to take a couple of last little cat-cows. So breathe in, lower the belly, lift the gaze. Breathe out, chin to chest, dome the back. You're going to take 2 more complete flows of this. And then come back onto all fours, walk the knees in, take the hands down to the sides, and you are all done. So I really hope you enjoyed that little Yoga Fit session, all filled with floor-based exercises, a little sequence that you can move through as well, move from posture to posture or exercise to exercise. Really important to just take those little tiny cues, so making sure you're drawing the belly in, you're focusing on getting the posture and the exercise in the right form so that you're getting the right benefits from it and not just rushing. So important for your fitness and your health as well. I would probably say you could do this a couple of times through, so if you did it once through and you still feel like you've got some more energy, you could do it a couple of times through and give that go. Maybe you want to start off with just doing it once and then build up to doing it a few more times together. I really hope you enjoyed this one. Thank you for joining me again, and I will see you on the next video. Take care guys, bye!